Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pumpkin Copter Cast, the only video game show. And today I'm joined by everyone's favorite philanthropic creature of myth. I'm joined once again by Charity Goblin Ruby. Hello, Ruby.
Hi everyone. I'm just
Eh,
happy to be back.
And today we are going to be doing our Game of the Year episode, but you might be thinking, Debbie, it's January 5th, to which I respond, shut up. But yeah. But before that, we're going to see if I can stump Ruby with everyone's favorite game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls. And last time Ruby was here, she swept. She was 3 for 3, and I've noticed that since then I've had two other VTuber guests on this show, and they've also done super well, so I can only assume that VTubers have access to some sort of dark store of knowledge.
I play
But
a lot of Dark Souls and Yu-Gi-Oh, so
yeah. But let's see if I can stump her this time. Same. Let's see. List of. All right. We'll start it off with. So Ruby, Judgment Dragon, Yu-Gi-Oh or Dark Souls.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
That is correct. From
Hey.
the recently released Realm of Light structure deck, which answers the question, what if God's angels were basically all souped up like the Power Rangers? Which is why has no one made that show? Anyway. And next on the list. Oh gosh, it's like reading a Doom novel with some of these names. Let's see, what sounds like a word that doesn't sound like a word anyone would say. It's, Royal Knight Loretta, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Correct. It was from Elden Ring,
Yep.
which is what if Dark Souls but more. And
I played. I actually played through that this year on my stream,
yeah,
or this past year.
you're clearly better at this than I thought, and you were already good to begin with. So let's see. Last one. Hmm. Let me just get this list of things I always have. Necro Gardna, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls?
One more time.
Necro Gardna.
That would be a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
That is correct. So, once again, just VTubers are, clearly the smartest ones and will rule on us all before too long. Anyway, now we can move on to the real bacon and eggs of this. As I said, we're doing the Game of the Year episode, and, it's been quite a year for games this year. Uh, Lots of good new releases. The Game Awards have happened again this year, and they've gotten a little bit better.
And people are still judgy about certain things appearing in the Game Awards, but that's just life.
Yeah. So let's see. I suppose, but before we get into that, I just want like to give an honorary mention. It's not technically a game; it is video game adjacent. We have history was fine. A chapter of history was finally concluded this year when the final issue of the Team Fortress comics was released, actually giving us a conclusion to the story, anyway, of Team Fortress 2. Something I don't think literally anyone expected to happen. So, yeah. If you have
they're just getting ready for Team Fortress 3, I'm certain.
Yeah. But yes, go to the Team Fortress website, read the issues, and get ready to get, sucker punched right in the solar plexus of your feelings. Because that is the general consensus of what happened. But, yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, I suppose each of us will pick a few games of the year to... Ruby, would you like to get the ball rolling?
Sure. I was actually taking a look at what games actually came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
But one that I've played a ton of and probably spent too much money on, Zenless Zone Zero. ZZZ.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe a sucker for gacha games, but also the game design, the gameplay, and everything feels so fluid in it that it has to be one of my favorite games that came out this year. Not including remakes and other things like that.
Yeah. And let's say I'm just going to. I'll start mine off with one that anyone who's known me for any length of time, either online or in the meat space, will be absolutely not surprised. And, I finally got what I wanted this year, and we got to remake the Switch remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, a game I fell in love with ever since I was a 13-year-old little Big Debbie.
Well, I actually have to agree with you. And on top of that, that actually made a remarkable stance for the trans community due to the fact that they actually changed Vivian's storyline to actually be the original one that they had in the Japanese dub.
I know. I remember back in the months before its release, Laura Kate Dale was like hypothesizing that there was some evidence that they would actually do that. Although, she, like me and everyone else who was invested in that, thought they weren't going to do it. But hot diggity shit, they actually did. And
I'm just so glad that it actually happened. It made so many people so mad. And
I know. I know. It's just. I mean, yeah, and the way that most of the Thousand Year Door community didn't even directly acknowledge the jerks who were mad about it. It reminded me of an episode of the Jimquisition when Stephanie Sterling drove a developer that was heckling and harassing her absolutely bonkers without ever actually acknowledging the director, the indie developer in question, without even trying. But yeah, and not just the fact that they acknowledge that Best Girl Vivian is transgender, which I don't. I mean, the game's been out for many, many months now, and I still kind of can't believe it, but in a good way.
Yeah, right.
But not just that, although that's a big part of it. Just they added that was just one of the many bells and whistles they added to the game. They made it look absolutely gorgeous. They added I noticed this a lot because I played this game obsessively when I was a youngin', but there's actual shading, when Mario goes underneath a tree or you're in I don't know, a cave. There's an appropriate amount of light or darkness, and one of my favorite things is how everyone has so many more facial expressions now. We see not just Mario but all of his partners, and even just the regular NPCs react to things and one of my favorite little details is how when you're in the middle of a battle, whenever Mario or one of his party is getting ready to fight, they actually take a little bit of they actually take a battle stance. And like I would have to look this up to confirm it, but I think like the stance Best Girl Vivian takes is like, I don't know, maybe like an actual boxing stance what boxers take before they do the boxing what they do.
Yep, she puts up her dukes.
Yeah, so well, I mean, in the words of the Game Grump, she's the world famous female pugilist.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, I love the 1,000 Year Door.
Oh yeah. And it's just gorgeous. Like the new music is friggin' banging, and I love the fact that there's a badge you can get pretty much from the beginning that plays like the classical music, and oh gosh, that's good. And I haven't played like any of the extra stuff yet, but I heard they've added quite a bit of bonuses. You can actually find out um, how Prince Mush from Chapter 3 is like the legally distinct WWE World Wrestling Champion of the world. And you can.
Yeah.
And like the other hidden boss is a freaking whacka. It, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised because wackos are like, what I assume people would think of if the phrase just a little guy was in a dictionary.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah. Let's see.
Another one of mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Although maybe it's too recent to be considered a game of last year, but I feel like Marvel Rivals deserves a shout out because, like, it is exactly what we want from a Marvel team based game.
Mm-hmm.
It is everything Marvel. It's all your favorite heroes, and all the characters feel amazing to play. Minus Wolverine because, well, I don't know what happened, but he just got the rough end of the stick with that one. But they're buffing him, which is good. But I'm not sure if it counts enough toward last year, since I think it. When did Marvel Rivals officially come out?
Hmm.
December 6th. So it's, yeah. I mean, I would say Marvel Rivals is probably a go-to just purely for the Marvel fan base, and anyone who loves comics will love all the little references each character has to each other, and
Mm-hmm. I
plus
do.
the internet's been going wild about Jeff the Shark now.
As I feel like they should.
Yeah, but people also hate him now. Which is also funny. They didn't know he existed 2 months ago, but now they hate him. Anyway.
Let's see. Let,
Oh,
uh,
continue.
sorry. Another one of my picks, which because a few years ago, my friends introduced me to, the wonderful world of the Moomin cartoons, which, for those of you who don't know, is based off of a series of children's books. And in the 90s, it was turned into a wonderful cartoon, and in roughly 2015 ish, it was turned into another series of cartoons, and it was just great. And, developed by Hyper Games and published by Raw Fury, you play, Snufkin, the vagabond elf man who is best friend slash, if we're not kidding ourselves, boyfriend to Moomin Troll. If you watch any episode where the two of them interact for more than a minute, and it is like an absolutely gorgeous game. Like it looks a lot like the original storybooks, but in color. And if you're looking for a game that's with like no violence in it at all, but like just as compelling as any of the more like violent games that have come out this year, then this is it for you. It's just for a brief synopsis. not to give too much away, but, within the world of the books and the shows, like, during the winter time, the Moomins go into hibernation, and Snufkin goes a wandering as he is wont to do, and when he returns the following spring for more adventures and shenanigans, he finds out that the place has been slowly, like, getting converted into some sort of, I'm not sure if this is the right word, but I don't know, gentrified park by one of the local park warden. And the only way Snufkin can, get things back to the way they ought to be is to, in his own words, fill Moomin Valley with crime. And, slowly undo the influence. And, yeah, it is just, like, absolutely beautiful. You pretty much see all of the major characters of the Moomin Valley, like, cartoons within the game. I mean, it's also a fairly short game, which, in my opinion, is a plus. And, surprise of all surprise, one of the more recent indie directs just announced some, like, DLC for the game, and which just before, the next, winter time, Moomin and Snufkin go on an adventure and help one of the locals of Moomin Valley find love. Ooh. And yeah, it is just hilarious. It's a hilarious game. Like, I didn't expect it to make me feel feelings as quickly as it did, but yeah, if you want something that's a wee bit different than, like, the games released by bigger companies, I would very much recommend this. Yeah.
Yeah. But just a random fun fact. I don't know why, and I cannot explain it. My wife hates the Moomin.
Huh.
No idea why. But that's a fun fact about my wife.
Um, if I had to hazard a guess, I would guess might be thanks to Little My.
No idea. But I've never experienced anything Moomin, but I know about them adjacently because my wife hates them. Anyway, uh, I think a lot of people. I think we can't go. We can't talk about last year's, games and the best games of last year without talking about Helldivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go from non-violent to the most violent thing you can think of.
Oh boy, do we.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, my internet's flickering. Um, give me 2 seconds. I need to disconnect and reconnect.
So,
Let's fix it.
that looks okay to me.
Looks okay to me. All right, good. Helldivers being a really interesting indie game that I actually played for an event a while back. The original one was a top-down, almost Diablo-style survival game against bugs and everything from think Starship Troopers. Then Helldivers 2 comes out. It's a fucking third-person shooter, and it is the most violent and crazy cool game, like, ever. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played. Sorry, I haven't played it myself, but from what I hear, it's like, very, very good. A lot of. Apparently, it calls to mind, like, the Starship Troopers movie to a lot of people just because. And I'm willing to bet there's at least something to it, because, some of the. Pretty sure I heard, like, some of the dude bros being like, it's not like Starship Troopers, they're just a bunch of soldiers killing all these damn bugs for invading our land and being disgusting bugs.
one of the jokes is it's Super Starship Troopers because the opening to the game is literally the "we need you" type commercial where it's just like a bug randomly shows up in a town and kills a dude's family. And he's like, "You need to enlist in the Helldiver." And it's like, oh my god, this dude's a fucking idiot. Anyway, it's so amazingly well done, and it's a lot of fun. It's goofy enough that like the violence isn't actually so bad, and it's over the top. Let's just say that. You want an action movie in a video game? Go play Helldivers 2.
Yeah. And let's see, moving on to another one of mine, like from the same Nintendo Direct that was telling us we would be getting a remake of Thousand Year Door. We got, we got Princess Peach Showtime, and I liked it because it is, a fairly easy game, but much like the experience I had with New Super Lucky's Tale, like just because it's easy doesn't mean it isn't like super duper fun. Like New Super Lucky's Tale is one of the few games I've ever 100%ed because it was just that easy to do, but there was like so much to it, and it had the sort of weird talking aminal humor that Banjo Kazooie and the like had. But like Princess Peach Showtime, like it is like a fair bit different than a lot of the games our dear princess has played, and I like the fact that with this and Paper Mario, we got two games this year in the fighting on a stage genre.
Fair.
Um, like, and unlike Princess Peach's last solo outing, there isn't even like a cursory like reference to Mario or Luigi in this game. Like the only Mushroom Kingdom characters are like the two toads that like tell Peach about the performance in the Sparkle Theater, and after that, Peach is the only one throughout the rest of the game after the intro.
Well, they are two Toadios.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, I get it now.
Anyway, so
Ah,
can we
and
talk about indie remakes? Because
oh,
there,
sure.
there's an indie game that came out that's a remake of one of my favorite childhood games. Did you ever play SSX Tricky back in the day?
I did not.
It's an extreme snowboarding game. Think Tony Hawk-esque,
Oh, I
but
I know of it.
yeah, it is one of the extreme snowboarding games made by EA back in the day, and they just totally dropped the franchise after the gritty reboot didn't work. Um, and someone literally released on Steam in November a remake of SSX Tricky with its own like flair to it called Tricky Madness, and it is so good. It's basically everything you want from an SSX remake, including fun characters and obviously it's not just it's more than a remake. It's basically its own thing, but you know, for lack of it very much pays a really good homage to everything arcade snowboarding has been throughout the years of gaming, from 1080 Avalanche to SSX.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up as a honorable mention, just because I love these games so much.
That's good. No problems here. Let's see. And Nintendo's like, I mean, most of the games I have played this year have most that came out this year have mostly been Nintendo games, because I am like 100% like a fangirl in Nintendo's favor. That one of my absolute favorites is got to be Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and just like I remember everyone just metaphorically just spitting out their glass of fruit punch they just drank in front of their monitor, and they found out you were actually playing as Zelda this time.
I mean, we haven't had that since Wand of Gamelon, right, or something like that.
We do not speak its name. Uh, but yeah, like I was also surprised. And in the trailer they did a really good job like setting it up, like faking us out, because I thought it was just an like a Link's Awakening type game, but then we actually see Link get captured by the mysterious purple, and like throughout I had so much fun just like I don't know, just trying to like get through the levels my own way, which basically means just like summoning a bunch of moblins and just throwing them at everything else because I can.
Yeah, I know people really like the bed launch strategy where they could just shoot themselves in the air with a bed and jump off to just skip shit.
Oh yeah, and yeah, and like ever since A Link Between Worlds came out back in the day, they've Nintendo's done a really good job, even like with like the top-down Zeldas, which usually traditionally weren't as story heavy as like the straight up 3D ones, but like they put like quite a good chunk of story in this one, and I yeah, just seeing like even in like the very beginning of the game when you're starting in the first area and you like walk into the village that this particular version of Link uh like grew up in, and like Zelda hears them talk about that brave little elf boy, like even that's like so different than everything we've had before.
Yep,
And
there's so many good games out there.
yeah, and I'm glad they like took some notes that they clearly took from like Tears of the Kingdom and made like the Zelda bosses in this game the sort of weird puzzly type ones that the series was known for, as opposed to just like straight up fighting that there was in like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, uh, I'm trying to think of other games because like obviously there's Balatro, which is uh, the new game of the year. Well, like everyone's indie game of the year, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Everyone wants to play that shit, but like comparing, like you can go from like super in depth, like world exploring, like you're describing with Zelda, to something so simple as a card game, and it can be just as good as to be almost game of the year, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have like virtual reality or like motorcycles like Yu-Gi-Oh, and yet it's still become like face explodingly popular.
Yeah,
Uh, that
I'm trying to think of other good games that came out last year because like so many games come out these days, right?
mm-hmm.
That's just a it's just a thing, but there's only God, I could go into expansions and stuff, but that doesn't exactly count, right?
I mean, if we're talking last year, then one of my games of the year would have to be like My Friendly Neighborhood, it,
Right.
which is like unlike some of its contemporaries, like them freaky puppets are freaky and scary, but they actually kind of actually look like puppets. Whereas unlike in things like Poppies and Playtime and the other one that I won't mention, like like the supposed like kid show things. They look like just like a bunch of knives that happen to have like Muppet stuff on them, which I feel like was an important distinction. Uh, let's see. I mean, a game I genuinely did not expect to become one of my games of the year this year would be like another game in the like one of the more recent mainstream Nintendo Directs would be Mario and Luigi Brothership, which
Oh, yep. The new
after
Mario and Luigi game, they're always good. They're slow. They start off slow, but they always end up good.
like I like how the fact that the Mario games are starting to like go follow the same line of like the Kirby games. It was just like these two silly guys are having a silly adventure, and then it ends with like fighting like an unspeakable horror that wants to like kill everything and some sort of demented Lovecraftian beast. Like they do that so often, but it works every time because they manage to make the the final boss like scarier than most of the scary things in games that are designed to be scary from the word go.
Yep.
Um, and something I didn't expect is like in Brothership, there was like a real emphasis on like character moments, like unlike in previous Mario and Luigi games, like even like a lot of the side characters get just like a whole lot of screen time because like one of the overarching themes of Brothership is like the bonds and like how strong like a sense of community can make someone. And there's actual like, and as a first in the Mario and Luigi games, there's like side quests, and they seem to be like all not really, but kind of taking like a page out of like the Yakuza games in the sense that the side quests can kind of get really weird. Like one of the like I don't want to spoil anything because it is because just like the whole game was just like a like one of my favorite experiences of this year. But like the one side quest I will spoil was one of the random NPCs is be like, I can't stop thinking about this like pink woman. Can you help set up a meeting? And then we find out it's other best girl Birdo, who's just also who's like just there because like the recurring gag of with Birdo's character nowadays is like Birdo is somehow in the place that it took Mario and Luigi several hours of adventuring to get to.
Yeah.
Like how are you here, Birdo? Anyway, and like it ends with the like this was just like Nintendo's really firing on all comedy cylinders this year because like the two meet and you think they're about to have this like romantic encounter, but then they're like, okay, bye, because like, oh no, they just wanted like the drama of it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, but, yeah, like, it's been, like, I was still in college when Paper Jam last came out, like, and a nice little detail that like I appreciate is that some of the bros attacks you acquire are bros attacks from previous games, for previous Mario and Luigi games. And uh and like for some reason people seem to hate her as much as they hated Navi back in the day, but like I personally very much enjoyed the fact that everyone's favorite bitchy yellow gumball Starlo is back because
Yeah.
I mean yeah, she does give Luigi crap in like the first game she appears in, but she kind of just like learns to chill out, probably because she gets rescued from horrible danger all the time. And there's this one scene where she's just like chatting with Bowser, and Bowser's like, "What the ever loving crap are you doing here?" And be like, "Yeah, I missed you too, buddy." Like they're just old pals catching up, and like yeah, like I would not expect like so many great like actual like story and character moments from like a Mario and Luigi game of all things. But like, damn, like we waited 9 years, but they made sure that what they came up with was damn well worth the wait. So yeah, Mario and Luigi Brothership, go buy it when you can.
Yeah. Another game that came out this year that I love, and I almost 100%ed on stream, but I couldn't find one achievement in it. Uh, and I did it almost in a single day, and that is Sucker for Love, Date to Die For.
Huh.
It is a horror dating sim where you basically date a eldritch deity, and her cultists are coming to try and kill you. It is awesome. It,
Well, I'm sold.
yeah, it's if you. I would say go play the first Sucker for Love game first, and then you'll understand more what happens in Date to Die For. But you don't have to. It's just a very. It has a sweet story. It's got an awesome. It's got awesome voice acting. It's got cool twists and turns, and all of the characters in it are lovable, even the characters who are trying to kill you.
um, so yeah, like those like a good chunk of the games I played this year aren't really games that came out this year, but so I guess to pivot a bit, Ruby, are there any games you've played this year that came out in previous years that made you go like, why did I wait this long to play this?
No, but a game came out and on Switch actually that had not been re-released since the Game Boy Advanced, and I got so hyped for it. I played it the day it came out on stream just to show how much I love the game, and that would be F-Zero GP Legends for the Game Boy Advance. It is now on Switch, and it is an amazing ass game. For those who don't know, it was. I don't think it was one of the last F-Zero games to actually release for Nintendo, and it was one that was based off of the short-lived anime, which was F-Zero GP Legend. And it introduces new characters. It actually has a good storyline. It's not super hard. All the characters have interesting plot ties, and then you also get to play an alternate reality where you just are the villain and you just win and take over the universe. It's actually awesome.
Let's see. Um, some of a game that I played this year that didn't necessarily come out this year that like I finally like understand the deal is like this year. Um, let's say there's quite a few. Would have to like I finally understand what all the hubbub is about with Yakuza 0.
Oh, yep, the Yakuza games.
Plays this. Like I didn't know what was happening at all. Like I was surprised. I was just super surprised that like Kiryu is like the most stone faced person I'd ever done seen. Like I don't know, pretending to be a director. He helps a dominatrix believe in herself more. And that's one of the best sentences I've just ever said ever in my life. Let's see. I mean, this game came out 2023 now, so I finally got a chance to play Horizon Forbidden West. Which like hot diggity shit, that was awesome. I mean, I love it when Aloy just collected her like team of weirdos, and they all insist that they're the normal one because that's just good comedy, and it's like I think one of the last performances we got from Lance Reddick before he unfortunately passed away, and he killed it in this game just as much as he did in Zero Dawn.
Actually, it's not one game, but there are a couple games that I played this year, now that I think about it, that I had not played previously. And that would be the Mass Effect series.
Oh, goodness.
I have no idea why I waited this long. I just fucking sat down and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm streaming the entire Mass Effect series, and I'm doing it again this year on the hardest difficulty.
Oh, good. Well,
so don't tune into that, but
I know I will. So
Garrett's my boy. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I played through, like, the Mass Effect games, I wanted to, like, punch the game in the face because I figured out that, like, Femshep couldn't romance Tally, and then I was like, what was the point of it all? But, yeah. The Mass Effect is pretty darn good. I remember being surprised when I figured out that friggin', President Jed Bartlett from the West Wing played one of the major characters. And that was, like, I think one of his only, like, video game voice credits. Like, hot diggity damn.
Fair enough.
And
so many good games that came out this year, jeez.
I know. And since it is now the future, are there any games that you're just like wish you could get your hands on like right the hell now?
God, I would need to actually think about that.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, like, I knew, like, what one of my games of the year would be, like, as soon as they announced, showed the first trailer for Borderlands 4. Like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Did you see the movie?
I did not.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, on the topic of the movie, like, as it was, like, coming out, a lot of people, like, dismissed it, and they were, like, initially dismissed of, like, the games themselves, but, like, I'm not as worldly when it comes to, like, stuff like this, but, like, a lot of people seem to forget, like, the Borderlands games, at least as far as, like, starting from, like, 2 onwards, isn't just about, like, the silly violence and, like, almost all of these characters is, like, I don't know, suffering from some sort of trauma, mental illness, PTSD, and, like, when they actually, like, slow down and do that, it's like in Phoenix Wright, where everyone's, like, all goofy and a living cartoon, but when they, like, start talking about their trauma, you're like, holy shit. Like, remember in, like, a story bit in, like, Borderlands 3, we see a bit more of, like, the early days of, like, Handsome Jack and Angel, and, like, how they actually went from, like, a loving father-daughter to what we got in Borderlands 2, and I'm like, it's genuinely heartbreaking, and, but, yeah, it was great, and, I mean, I'm gonna save most of this for the Pride episode I know I'm gonna be doing in June, but like the Borderlands games have always been like super cool with representation. Like I've noted, like starting from like 3, you're introduced to this character lore, and you actually like see his transition throughout like 3 games, like. You see him like pre-transition and Borderlands 3 because there's the frickin' bad guys of that are making it so that everything's on fire and no one has any time for like everyday life stuff. You see him like mid-transition in the sort of Dungeons and Dragons kind of Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and in New Tales of the Borderlands, which they did not advertise at all, which they should have, damn it. You actually see him like much farther along and with blue hair, because as Strongbad has said, you gotta have blue hair. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited with the border. Like, I'm really curious as to what's gonna happen in Borderlands 4, because Borderlands 3 they basically just added more. Like, a bunch of the guns have like more than can do like more than one kind of thing, unlike in like the pre-sequel or Borderlands 2. You can like, I think, customize like the powers and like the ultimate skills
Yep.
that the Vault Hunters have. Like, I played as Amara, and you can do like a super duper ground pound. You can just like do like, I don't know, just hover in the air and like blast a laser down on the ground, or just like shoot like a astral projection laser thing. Like, just like I didn't know like customizing weapons and power ups was something I needed in like the Borderlands games, but I'm like they've been like knocking it out of the park lately, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do in 4. And let's see, yeah, and now I also have to like look up what's coming out in 2025, because I know there's at least a few things I can't wait to get my mitts on. Let's see.
See. Oh, Monster Hunter Wilds is something I'm interested in. But depending if it comes out this year, which I hope we get more information on it soon. Kingdom Hearts 4, honestly.
Ooh. Uh, I bet that'll be quite something. But yeah,
I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, and so Kingdom Hearts 4 is like my most anticipated game, but we have no idea when it's coming out. That's
yeah.
the issue.
And like Ghost of Your Toy is coming out, and like that's probably gonna finally motivate me to like play Ghost of Tsushima, which I now can't wait to do, since I took advantage of holiday money and now have a PS5. So, and the main character is voiced by, Dropout TV alumni Eric Ishii, which is just even more reason. And yeah, oh yeah, the new Pokemon Legends. I'm just remembering it now because I have a list in front of me. The new Pokemon Legends game, which takes place entirely in Lumio City, because Legends Arceus was like my game of the year of 2022. Like, hot diggity damn.
Fair.
And another one I'm looking forward to is Professor Layton in the New World of Steam, which I'm kind of curious to see. Like, are they gonna resolve, like, where did Professor Layton go? Like, are we gonna resolve anything with Catriel? And, but, yeah, that is what I'm looking forward to the most so far. Like, the year's probably gonna throw a lot more surprises at us.
Hell yeah, and I'm looking forward to every single one of them.
Yeah. And I suppose with that, we can bring this Game of the Year episode to a close. I would like to thank Charity Goblin Ruby for returning and saying word talks about video games with me.
I'm always happy to be here, and I love talking about video games. Like, well, I wouldn't be a streamer otherwise, would I?
Yeah. And if anyone watching at home enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. Hit that notification, all that good stuff, so that, maybe I can, break 70 subscribers by the end of this year. Um, just,
I believe you can and will.
I hope so, and thank you. And And on the off chance this show does become popular in the interim, you can go to patreon.com/thepumpkincoptercast, and where for as little as $1 you can submit questions for me to use in future interviews. And, before I pass the shameless plugging of shows baton to Ruby, I will mention the other thing I do. I also host Gotta Recap 'Em All, where God is a horse, so nothing is off limits. A podcast in which I recap every single episode of the Pokemon anime with my current co-host Lumran Mayasha of Manga Mavericks. And yes, you heard me. Every single episode. The one with Porygon and that gave people seizures? Yes. The one where people kept pointing a gun to Ash's head? Also yes. Just all manner of the good stuff. And yeah, if that's your jam, then go to your podcast platform of choice and leave a rating and a review. And Ruby, is there anything you would like the fine peoples at home to watch of yours before we sign off?
Absolutely. I am Charity Goblin Ruby over on Twitch, all one word, and I actually am having a big charity event coming later this month, on the 25th, called Team for a Cause, where we are supporting all of the people who are endangered in the new administration with charity work. So we are trying to support our trans brothers and sisters all across the U.S. With this upcoming event for Stream for a Cause, and we're going to have major guest stars like Aaron from the Game Grumps and One Topic from his YouTube channel, One Topic at a Time.
Okay. Well, until next time, everyone, hopefully this year will have a few more videos than last year. But, until then, everyone, as I say at the end of every one of these shows, have a gourd day, everyone.